So I don't know what makes this computer act up. I apologize, but we're going to try and finish this book review here. Book moments, I should say. This will be a part B to the next part of this review. What's this? I bought new bowls, Sammy said. There's this woman that comes down at the market on Sundays, but what happened to the ones that we always eat out of? The chip ones don't match, Sammy asked. Yeah, those, Rose said. They're in a box in one of the barns. I thought you never know when we might need extra dishes, and I sincerely doubt anyone is going to want them. They're fine, Rose protested. I wanted matching dishes, Sammy said. I live in this house, and Rose turned out the rest of Sammy's explanation, breaking off a piece of bread and biting into it angrily. She didn't know why it bothered her. Unfamiliar bowls and the unfamiliar blue of Logan's eyes. It was a weird, strange thing to get worked up about, and if it wasn't for the moment in the entry with Logan, she might not have. Things were changing. That was the problem. Sammy and Ryder had found each other in a way that they hadn't before. Sammy lived here now. It was her house. She was the matriarch, except it was Iris's kitchen, too. And Iris had never thought that the bowls needed to be changed out. Sammy hadn't seemed to think so until they were married and she was having a baby. What do you think of new bowls? She asked Iris in spite of herself. I love them, Iris said. I'm not attached to tableware that's falling apart. Rose didn't know why she was. And she didn't know why this was bothering her, considering that one of the things she was advocating for right now involved change. If Iris ended up with Elliot, things would change. She wanted Ryder and Sammy to be together, and that was change. She was happy for West and Pansy, and that brought about change, had brought about new people into their lives. She didn't know why something as stupid as bowls were bothering her. Conversation shifted and changed around her, sometimes 5 or 6 times in 10 minutes, and she just sat there in silence. If anyone noticed it, that she was angry or uncharacteristically they didn't comment. Now, when I was shooting the deer out of the pond, I did talk to Barbara shooing the deer out of the pond. I did talk to Barbara about the upcoming Christmas parade. Don't tell me she's involved in that, Rose said. Yes, Pansy said patiently. She is. It's my first Christmas as police chief, and this is one of the largest events that we hold in the town. I want it to be special, and I want to help in any way I can. Keeping it safe, keeping it organized, just everything. And if my lovely family could find it in them to get involved, that would be great. Why do we have to get involved? Ryder asked. Doesn't that what's-his-face Dodge always do a bunch of stuff for this? Yes, Pansy said. Wyatt Dodge does a hell of a lot every year, but I don't see why we can't contribute as well. That was 70 and 71. Here comes 72 and 73, hopefully. The steer is in the sister's tone made it very apparent, the steel in the sister's tone made it very apparent that this was not a suggestion. Pansy was going to enforce the involvement of her family if it was the last thing she did. What is it you had in mind? Rose asked. Well, I'm glad you wondered, because what I would like is for Sammy to do a jewelry-making demonstration, which is also going to be a great opportunity for you to sell your work. I would like Iris to bake some goodies, and the rest of you need to help with the float assembly and other manual labor. I don't get a special job? Rose asked. She had gone from feeling mildly peevish to being outright annoyed. Do you want a special job? Well, Iris and Sammy get special jobs. The girls get special jobs except for me. If it makes you feel any better, my job is basically manual labor one too. It doesn't make me feel better. Do you want to help bake? Iris asked. Spare me your pity bread, Rose said. Fine, it's fine. I'll help with assembly and general lifting of things. She lifted up her arm and flexed, showing the evidence of all the hard work that she did around the ranch. I guess that's what I get for spending all my time outside. Well now, Logan said, there's something to that. We could give a demonstration. Rose's mouth dropped open. She couldn't believe that Logan had volunteered to be a part of this. Not at all. He didn't do Christmas. While the Daniels had never skipped a Christmas, Ryder was doing his best to carry on normalcy even in the face of grief. Logan withdrew every year. He didn't open gifts. He didn't exchange them. He didn't go to Christmas parades. Why? She asked, the question sounding exceedingly dumb. Because you want to do something, so I say we do something. What? Castrating pigs in traffic cones? A lesser appreciated skill she was for sure. No, I was thinking maybe not castration, but what if we did a basic blacksmith demonstration? They weren't pros exactly, but they had the basic ironing skills and all the tools for it. Her cousin Jake was the one who did the real accomplished blacksmithing stuff. It was what his dad had done on his side, but they had everything they needed for it at the ranch. Do you think people would like that? Sure, Logan said. It'll be a cold day. We'll do stuff with fire and hot iron, basic stuff. Let's make some horseshoes. Okay, Rose said. I think that's a great idea, Pansy said, and no one has done it at the parade before. We can set you as far away from the booth so you won't light anything on fire, but close enough that people can meander down once they get cider and chili and all that. Great, Logan said. Now we just need to get all the other details finalized. Barbara wanted to have a parade at night, but I kindly pointed out that people might not want to stand out in the weather and that cold. Plus, we don't want it to be past the Girl Scouts' bedtime, so we're going to keep it separate from the tree lighting. 74. Does she just change things for the sake of changing them? Rose asked. Again, she wasn't sure why this was bothering her so much, except perhaps that it was underlined with the way things were moving and shifting in their family. Moving on. I'm sure if you ask her, that was what she would say no, though sometimes it feels like it, Pansy said. But you know, she does a lot for the community, and I'm grateful for her. I'm really not mad. Rose was unmoved. I'll be mad for you. She took another piece of bread and shot Iris a sly glance. You made sourdough. Is that the same recipe you shared with Elliot? Ryder frowned. You shared a recipe with Elliot? She did, Rose said, giving her brother a furious, triumphant look. I did, Iris said, measured. He's nice. And again the computer is acting up. I'll be back, hopefully, here in a minute, so don't go anywhere.